Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Anamkara Thursday night meditation program. And tonight is the Heart Sutra night, so we'll be doing that chant in a little while. But with all my heart and with all my love, I welcome you to our program tonight. So good to be able to gather and support each other in the practices and support this living presence of the truth in the world at a time when, frankly, the truth is rather beleaguered and under assault everywhere. So all the more reason we have to put energy into our practices and for standing for the truth, standing for Dharma in the world. And so being able to gather together, to have satsang, to keep the company of the truth, literally that's what it means, and sangha, to be a gathering of like-minded seekers who can support each other in keeping the strength of our practices and stay in touch with that living connection that's really in our hearts at all times and all places. But, the mind has a way of occluding that experience. So being able to come back to practices together so that we come into that living presence and then are empowered to walk it more strongly, more clearly into the world, into our lives, into everyday actions. So that's what we're here for on our Thursday nights. So glad you're able to join us this evening. We're going to be starting with the practice that we do each week of the opening mantras. A mantra being such a potent form, a sound form, literally known as the sound form of the divine, the sound form of God. And so becoming immersed in mantra is a way of helping to clear the mind, clear the body of all the things that have happened in the past, come into this moment and into this living presence. So we do the opening mantras as an invocation and as a way of being able to clear the mind and body of what they've been carrying up until this moment. And we'll be chanting those. If you know them, you're welcome to join along or simply listen and try to attune yourself to that vibration that is actually beyond sound. It's beyond sound itself. When we talk about mantra as a throb, as a vibration, the gross form of that is sound, but the subtler forms are beyond sound. That's why, it's called the unstruck sound, the anahata, as in the anahata chakra, the heart chakra, because it's beyond the physical presence of sound. It really enters the domain of sound as a way of being able to support us and carry us beyond the ordinary realms of body and mind. So we'll start with these opening mantras. Shri Mata Kali stillness, that absolute silence, that's the source of mantra. That's where mantra takes us back into the source of our very being. So we get to know who and what we are beyond the clouds of thoughts and feelings and reactions and everything that goes on in the mind and in the body. That stillness, so inviting. It's a stillness that's suffused with love. It's a stillness that when we really can enter it fully, consciously, we can see it's luminous. It's dark to the mind, but it's a light. It's a light with love. It's a light with divine presence. That's what's in that stillness. That's why all the mystics of every tradition have said, go into the stillness, go into the silence. Yes, the mind loves certain kinds of practices because the mind is, well, it likes entertainment, it likes movement. And so our practices start with that. And then it keeps inviting us, become more and more silent, more and more still, more and more quiet for longer and longer periods till we can rest in that, the ocean of the infinite. It's right there. It's right here. It's right now. That's what our practices are aimed at. And in fact, that's really what the Heart Sutra itself is aimed at. Now I'm going to be chanting the Heart Sutra in a little bit. And, both the Heart Sutra and the opening mantras, if you go to the Anamkara website, you can download the documents for those. So if you want to practice them at home, you're welcome to do that. The Heart Sutra is an extraordinary practice and one of the foundational texts in the Buddhist tradition, because it's literally a unfolding, in a sense, of Buddha's state. And when we say Buddha's state, we're talking about your state. Right? You are the Buddha. You don't know that, but you're as much as the Buddha as Buddha was. The difference was he woke up to that. We may not be. So, but in the Heart Sutra, and as he's talking about, what he sees from this deep state of what's called Prajnaparamita, the highest state, the deepest state of wisdom. In the Heart Sutra, that's called the Bhagavati Mahaprajnaparamita Hridayam. So Bhagavati is the great goddess. So it's seen as this is the one who gives birth, because later on it's in the sutra it says, it's this that gives birth to all Buddhas. So all enlightenment, all entering of that state of nirvana, of extinguishing all the cravings and agitation of the mind, this comes out of this Prajnaparamita. And who's Prajnaparamita? Who's this great Bhagavati? She's Tara. She's Ma Tara. She's Kali. She's Ma Kali. So we have Tara, and we have Tara. We have Kuan Yin, the great mother. So we're calling on that profound wisdom to empower us to see past the mind. And that's how it starts out. So as the Buddha was coursing through deep prajna wisdom, deep prajna paramita, and he clearly saw that all 5 skandhas, meaning all the stuff that occurs in the mind, you could call it 3 skandhas if you wanted. You could call it 10 skandhas. They're just lumps. Skandha just means lumps. It's a way of categorizing what you perceive in that absolute stillness. And as you're seeing that, it's not who you are. It's these ephemeral comings and goings of sense and individualized consciousness and identification with this role, that role, all these things, right? So that's what he sees, but knows that they're empty, meaning they have no permanence. They're completely interdependent, and they come and go, so they're empty of any sort of soul existence. All their existence depends on another cause and another cause and another cause and another cause. When you see past that, then you can see the boundlessness of the awareness. Because what Buddha was talking from was that spaciousness of being, that spaciousness of pure awareness that beholds this and is beyond it all. So it invites us to know that state, because it's the root of who and what we are. In the truth of what we are, in the truth of our Buddha nature. Not the ephemeral stuff coming and going, identified with this gender, this role, all that stuff. No, no, no. That's the conventional self, sometimes called even the false self, because it's limited, it's bound. The fullness of and grandeur, the magnificence of who you are, of the light of your heart. It won't fit in that little conduit. It wants to burst out, burst into the world with boundless love, boundless compassion, boundless wisdom, boundless rapture, joy. That's why Buddha also taught that these four immeasurables, that's one's nature. So when we inhabit mind and body, we have little limited, diminished pieces of that. Like little reflections in so many broken mirrors that just capture a fragment of the truth of who we are. The practices are the invitation to leave that, to come home to ourselves. So when we come back into this vehicle, it can now be a vehicle that carries the greatness, the sublime nature of who you are, your consciousness, into your world, your relationships, your work, everything informed by that. So that's what the Heart Sutra invites us to do. So when we do this chant of the Heart Sutra, meaning we read it aloud 3 times through, and at the end is the mantra of the Heart Sutra, Gate, Gate, Paragate, Parasamgate, Bodhi, Swaha. Gone, gone, gone beyond, completely beyond. Hail the goer, you, the Buddha. Swaha, so mote it be. Then we'll sit in just the stillness. Sit in that stillness. And when things arise, watch them from your Buddha self. Watch them as just, oh, there's just another thought. There's just another thing of the mind, a thing of the body. These are the skandhas. They're just not who I am. I just step back and I watch. And gradually, you'll become aware of the boundless nature, of that infinite expanse of awareness that both embraces all and is free of all. That's who you are. So we'll chant the Heart Sutra, and we'll do this 3 times through, with the Gate, Gate, Paragate, Parasamgate, Bodhi, Swaha, using a drum at the end. And then we'll sit in the stillness, that the power of Buddha mind. You know, Buddha mind is eternal. Buddha mind is here and now. Buddha mind is reflected in this mirror of the Heart Sutra. But we'll sit in that. Buddha mind is your mind. And we'll sit in the stillness of that. And we'll sit for a while, and then we'll come out of that meditation, and we'll do another practice. And with that, we'll do actually the Tara mantra. You know, this is a particularly important time because of the struggles and pain and suffering, ignorance in the world, that we also help to invoke Tara Ma herself, right? Because she's the one who is known as the one who leaps forward to relieve suffering, leaps forward to bring to seekers what they need, leaps forward to heal. We need her presence. We need this divine feminine presence. So much of what's wounded in our world comes out of the sick masculine. And we see that in such high contrast right now, because the forces that want to dominate so much of our world and our culture represent that really sort of pathology of the masculine, of the patriarchy. And we have to stand up and do something about that. One of my first teachers was Choyam Trungpa Rinpoche, and he used to talk about being a Shambhala warrior, Shambhala like a warrior of peace. But a warrior nevertheless. It wasn't just we sat in meditation in a nice meditation room and enjoyed the comfort of meditation and be a warrior there. No, we have to walk this into the world. We have to stand for that peace. We have to stand for that dharma. We have to stand for what it is to be loving, kind, compassionate, and truthful in this world. And the powers of the practices empower us to be able to do that with clarity, with wisdom, with equanimity. So we can be stable, we can be focused, we can be clear as we're doing that and bring that into the world. And those are gifts of Dharma. Dharma is another reflection of what our true nature is, of who we are. There's another mirror that reflects back to us. You are this boundlessly loving, kind, compassionate being, full of strength, full of wisdom. You can carry this into the world. So the practices we're going to do are first the Heart Sutra, and then sitting in the stillness, the gift of the Heart Sutra. Then we'll be doing the chant of the Tare Mantra, Om Tare Tuttare Ture Soha. And we'll chant that for a while and become absorbed in the power of that mantra, and then again sit in the stillness for the remainder of the program. And at the end, we'll chant again. So we're going to begin now with the Heart Sutra. So again, remember, we read through it in unison together 3 times through, and then at the end we'll do the Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Swaha, and then just sit in that stillness. So here we begin. Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, coursing through deep Prajnaparamita, clearly saw that all 5 skandhas are empty, transforming all suffering in distress. Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is exactly emptiness, emptiness exactly form. Sensation, thought, impulse, consciousness are also like this. Shariputra, all things are marked by emptiness, not born, not destroyed, not stained, not pure, without gain, without loss. Therefore in emptiness there is no form, no sensation, thought, impulse, consciousness. No eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. No color, sound, smell, taste, touch, object of thought. No realm of sight to no realm of thought. No ignorance and also no ending of ignorance, to no old age and death, and also no ending of old age and death. No suffering and also no source of suffering. No annihilation, no path. No wisdom, also no attainment. Having nothing to attain, bodhisattvas live Prajnaparamita, with no hindrance in the mind. No hindrance, thus no fear. Far beyond delusive thinking, they attain complete nirvana. All Buddhas, past, present, and future, live Prajnaparamita, and thus attain Anuttara Samyak Sambuddhi. Therefore know that Prajnaparamita is the great mantra, the wisdom mantra, the unsurpassed mantra, the supreme mantra, which completely removes all suffering. This is truth, not deception. Therefore set forth the Prajnaparamita mantra. Set forth this mantra and say, Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Swaha. Avalokiteshvara, Bodhisattva, coursing through deep Prajnaparamita, clearly saw that all 5 skandhas are empty, transforming all suffering and distress. Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is exactly emptiness, emptiness exactly form. Sensation, thought, impulse, consciousness are also like this. Shariputra, all things are marked by emptiness, not born, not destroyed, not stained, not pure, without gain, without loss. Therefore in emptiness there is no form, no sensation, thought, impulse, consciousness. No eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. No color, sound, smell, taste, touch, object of thought. No realm of sight to no realm of thought. No ignorance and also no ending of ignorance, to no old age and death, and also no ending of old age and death. No suffering and also no source of suffering. No annihilation, no path. No wisdom, also no attainment. Having nothing to attain, bodhisattvas live Prajnaparamita with no hindrance in the mind. No hindrance, thus no fear. Far beyond delusive thinking, they attain complete nirvana. All Buddhas, past, present, and future, live Prajnaparamita and thus attain Anuttara Samyak Sambuddhi. Therefore know that Prajnaparamita is the great mantra, the wisdom mantra, the unsurpassed mantra, the supreme mantra, which completely removes all suffering. This is truth, not deception. Therefore set forth the Prajnaparamita Mantra. Set forth this mantra and say, Gate, Gate, Paragate, Parasamgate, Bodhiswaha. Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, coursing through deep Prajnaparamita, clearly saw that all 5 skandhas are empty, transforming all suffering and distress. Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is exactly emptiness, emptiness exactly form. Sensation, thought, impulse, consciousness are also like this. Shariputra, all things are marked by emptiness. Not born, not destroyed, not stained, not pure, without gain, without loss. Therefore in emptiness there is no form, no sensation, thought, impulse, consciousness. No eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. No color, sound, smell, taste, touch, object of thought. No realm of sight to no realm of thought. No ignorance and also no ending of ignorance to no old age and death and also no ending of old age and death. No suffering and also no source of suffering. No annihilation, no path. No wisdom, also no attainment. Having nothing to attain, bodhisattvas live Prajnaparamita with no hindrance in the mind. No hindrance, thus no fear. Far beyond delusive thinking, they attain complete nirvana. All Buddhas, past, present, and future, live Prajnaparamita and thus attain Anuttara Samyak Sambuddhi. Therefore know that Prajnaparamita is the great mantra, the wisdom mantra, the unsurpassed mantra, the supreme mantra which completely removes all suffering. This is truth, not deception. Therefore set forth the Prajnaparamita mantra. Set forth this mantra and say, Gate, Gate, Paragate, Parasamgate, Bodhiswaha. 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 Now, sitting in that stillness, in the Prajnaparamita, you're in Buddha, sitting, just watching. Open, spacious, and free is that awareness. All that you see just comes and goes. You rest in the stillness. Gone, gone, gone beyond, completely beyond. Hail the goer, you, Bodhisattva, you, Buddha. stillness still surrounds the mind. So even while we move on, remain aware of that stillness. All thoughts arise out of stillness, dissolve into stillness. All movements arise out of stillness, dissolve into stillness. Even the breath itself arises out of stillness and dissolves into stillness. Between the inhalation and the exhalation, there's this instant of stillness. It's a portal. It's a opening into the infinite. Come to rest there. So now we're going to be chanting the sublime mantra of Tare Tuttare Ture Soha, an invocation of Tara, the feminine face of the infinite of Buddha, and especially known for her compassion, her love, her wisdom, her strength, and for leaping forward to take care of everyone. It said that she hears the cries of suffering of all beings. And so we invoke her and take refuge in her, knowing that that's our own true nature. Our mind is taking refuge in our own highest nature. Our mind is taking refuge in this light of the divine that's already indwelling. Om. Om is the primordial mantra. Out of Om come all other mantras. So Om is kind of the primordial body of the divine. Out of Om comes Tara. Out of Om comes Kali. Out of Om comes the mantras. Throb, a vibration of that infinite presence. Om Tare Tuttare Ture Soha. So we're invoking her so that she not only relieves the suffering that we may be experiencing, but the suffering of all beings. And by chanting it aloud, we're putting it out into the universe for the benefit of all beings. So when we're chanting Om Tare Tuttare Ture Soha, it's for everyone. It's to uplift all beings. Om Tare Tuttare Ture Soha. So that all beings get free of suffering. And when a being becomes free of suffering, they stop inflicting their suffering on others. The suffering that people inflict on one another comes from their own suffering, their own ignorance, their own fear, their own bondage. So we have to have that clarity, that wisdom, to be able to see that. That's what brings compassion for the afflicted states that others are in. And as they flail about, they inflict that suffering on others. So Tara gives us both that wisdom as well as the strength and the compassion, the love and the power to bring it into the world and to help change, to transform the world, to transform our own mind, our own inner reality. Om Tare Tuttare Ture Soha. Oh, Great Mother, oh Tara Ma, set us free, set all beings free, that we may live in that boundless wisdom, that boundless love, that boundless grace. Om Tare Tuttare Ture Soha. So we're going to chant that for a few minutes and then enter the stillness, the heart of the infinite. Om Tare Tuttare Ture Soha. 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 We end with this prayer that may all our practices truly benefit everyone, and may all beings know complete freedom from suffering. Namaste. So taking refuge in the power of mantra, the living presence of the divine, taking refuge in Tare Ma, Om Tare Tuttare Ture Soha, the Divine Mother, in so many different forms. I remember when my teacher, Baba Muktananda, first came to New York, he loved the Statue of Liberty. And when he established a large ashram upstate New York, he had a replica of the Statue of Liberty built there because he called her Swatantriya Devi. Now, Swatantriya is a special word in the Shaivite tradition. It means the Devi, the goddess of unimpeded freedom. Her power is unimpeded, the power. And so he saw her and he would talk about how she stood with her torch held high and stood for liberty and justice, freedom for all. And that's what the Devi wants, freedom for everyone. And so he had that built. Swatantriya Devi, that power of freedom, that power of justice, bringing that into the world, bringing the light of that. And when I think of, who we just lost, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, may her memory forever be a blessing to us all. She was an emanation of that. She had that power, that strength. She was a Shambhala warrior. She stood strong, even though she was just a little bit of a thing. She had such power, such strength. Extraordinary. So we have to carry that into the world. We have to carry that presence. It's an aspect of our own being. That light of the divine is right there. That strength right there. So the practices are all about bringing us home to that so we can walk that into the world, moment by moment, breath by breath, heartbeat by heartbeat. You're a living embodiment of the truth. This is the highest truth. You are that. Tat Twamasi. So the practices are really to open our awareness to what's already fully present. You are the one. So take refuge in the practices, that they empower you to bring the truth into the world, into your life, day by day, moment by moment. We're heading into darker times. It's the autumn. Days are getting shorter, but there's also other darkness that's trying to dominate. So we really have to bring the light and strength of who we are, what the truth is, into this world and stand for that. And we stand for Dharma. And then Dharma Shakti, the power of Dharma, stands with us. So each week we come back to gather so that we can fan the flames of that truth in ourselves and in the world. Keep that light burning strongly. So I want to thank you all for coming this evening, and the power of your intention, the power of your commitment, the power of your practices that brought you here this evening. Such a blessing. You're such a blessing. You carry this into the world, each in our own way, but that's so invaluable. It's extraordinary, especially in this time. So keep doing that. So I want to again thank you for coming. Thank you for all the ways you support Anamkara and are doing our seva, are fulfilling our dharma of carrying this into the world by sharing what we offer, the YouTube channel, the e-newsletter, the support that I so tremendously appreciate for the donations that you give that keep us going. All of that is so important, and we're so grateful for that. So with all my heart and with all my love, I want to thank you for that. And thank you for being here this evening and joining us and lending the power of your presence and the power of your practices to this evening. And so we'll be back again next week. Thank you for coming.